Okay, so right now you should have this done. Your paper should be dry. So I can do this. It's very, very dry. You're looking at your image. You're always going to be keeping your eye on that. And what you're going to do at this point is, it's your call. You can either use dark brown or you can use gray. Like I said, if you choose a black, be very, very, very light-handed with it. You don't want to get too into the black. For my sake, I'm going to be using this dark brown. So what you're going to do is called the underpainting. And it's almost a monotone or monochromatic, so that means one color, sketch of what you're doing. So think about it if you were doing a sketch in pencil. There wouldn't be any color there. It would just be essentially black and white. And that's kind of what you're doing here. So you're going to look at your image and you're going to imagine you're sketching it with one color. The idea is, if you do this, the color underneath or the details that you do underneath are going to show up. It makes the final detailed part so much easier. So if you're looking here, you're constantly going to be referencing back to your original image, and think of it like you are sketching in or shading in a drawing or a picture. So the same way I've asked you to shade things before, and the same way we shaded in the sphere with one color, that's what you're going to do here. The idea is you try to get the generalized shapes in, and then you're going to do another layer that has more detail. So right now what I'm doing is looking at my midground, and I'm getting those general shapes of the trees in. I'm trying to note where the trees are, where they're darker, where they're lighter. I'm even using a little bit of dry brushing right here to get the texture of the trees right. And just a reminder, this is a painting, so this is not a like completely true photograph of this. We want to work in a general way, and we want it to look artistic. So I'm not going to be like, hey, there were 12 trees on that area and you have one. I'm going to be more like, that looks about correct. I should be able to recognize these as trees, but at the same time, I don't want to be like, yeah, this is pretty much a copy and paste version. Okay, so I start in the background or in the midground, and then I move forward. And just the same way I start in, you can either use a circular, a clockwise pattern, or a counterclockwise pattern. So at this point, I believe I've placed down my first dark layer. Okay, the general shape of the trees. And now I'm going to move forward, or I'm going to move to this area. So I look at my picture again. This thing's pretty dark, but it still has areas of dark and light. So the center for this thing is pretty dark, and then it lightens up as it goes out. Okay, I'm going to use the techniques I learned, like the gradient, to do that. Okay, so one thing we also should remember too is that nature abhors straight lines, meaning nature does not like things that are straight lines. You're always going to have a little bit of turn into it. Okay, so like I was saying too, your goal here is to do almost like a complete black and white painting. You're going to use layering to make certain areas darker, like I'm doing right now on this tree, and to make certain areas more detailed. The things that are closer to you, like this rock, are going to be more detailed. And if you're looking here, I'm going sideways because this is the way the grass goes. So I wouldn't go up and down for grass. Then later I'm also going to do these rocks. I know that this part of the rock is shaded and darker. All right, so I'm going to let you guys continue on. I'll stop there and then I will come back later to finish it up if we have any more time. What you have to do at this point for all my watercolor people is paint as detailed a painting as you can get in just either different shades of the one brown or different shades of black or gray. So it should look almost like a black and white drawing or a brown drawing where, you know, the shadows are a darker brown. So if this was a shadow, you know, I could put this darker brown in like this. And then it goes to this lighter brown. And you're going to keep doing that by adding layers. Okay, so you build layers on top of layers. You're going to keep adding them. And eventually it's going to look like a black and white drawing. All right, I'm going to pause and then I will come back to do the more detailed version once we're done.